Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a giant ballpark insect deck profile. So I'm really excited to see you guys because this deck just got some insane support out of Photon Hypernova, pretty much being a modern day Weevil Underwood deck now because we have all sorts of really cool Weevil cards that we got out of the new pack, giving us an insane new boss monster, Ultimate Great Insect, which is just so cool to be able to summon out. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Shiny Black Sea. This card is a awesome 3-of in the deck that you need to play at least 3 vanillas in this particular deck to work with your copy of Giant Ballpark. It's extremely important to play, and it's a really good summon off of Giant Ballpark, being the highest attack level 4 insect in the game that is a vanilla monster. We then play 3 copies of the new Infinite Monster. This card is so good as a normal summon in the deck. It makes it extremely easy to summon out the new Ultimate Great Insect, because once per turn at the start of the damage step, when an insect monster battles, you can target 1 card that you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them, which is a really good effect to be able to spot remove a card. And when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can equip 1 insect monster from your hand or grave to this card as an equip spell that gives it 500 attack and defense, which will give it that 2,000 defense points that it needs to be able to summon out the copy of the Ultimate Great Insect, which is super cool. We then play 3 copies of Resonance Insect, one of the best insects we've ever gotten. Really great in this particular build, because if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can add a level 5 or higher insect type monster from your deck to your hand, which is just a really good effect to be able to use with this card. We then play 3 copies of Dragon Bite. Dragon Bite is just going to help you swarm the field a little bit. It's just an awesome card that when this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower insect monster from your hand. And this card is also a tuner, so it's just really good to help you synchro summon in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Parasite Paranoid. This card is so good as a 3-of in the deck. I absolutely love this card, and it's just awesome as a hand trap, because quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field and equip this card from your hand to that target, and the equipped monster becomes an insect monster, and it cannot attack insect monsters. Also, its effects are negated that activate by targeting an insect monster are negated, which is just really good to give you a little bit of protection to be able to basically target one of your opponent's monsters and equip this card to that opponent's monster. It also has the ability, if this equipped card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a level 7 or higher insect monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, which we have some pretty cool targets in this deck to actually summon off of Parasite Paranoid. We then play 3 copies of Retaliating Sea. Retaliating Sea is really a great hand trap in this deck, because when your opponent activates a spell card that includes an effect that special summons a monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if summoned this way, while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is a really good effect because we can easily get this card off the field, but it's really good to throw this card on the field against certain matchups. But the really neat effect about this card is if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Earth Insect monster with 1,500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, so we have a lot of cards in the deck that this card can actually search. We then play 3 copies of Sneaky Sea. Sneaky Sea is a new card that we just got out of Photon Hypernova, and it's a really interesting card for this deck, because when your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position, and if you do, during the end phase of this turn, change it to face up defense position, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, and if this card is flip face up during the end phase, destroy all special summon monsters on the field, which is great just to be able to board wipe your opponent's monsters. We then play just 2 copies of Gokipole. Gokipole is a great 2-of in the deck, but you only need 2 copies of this card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you added a normal monster, you can special summon it to your side of the field as well, which is just a great effect. Then you can destroy 1 monster on the field with attack greater than or equal to that special summon monster, which you're always going to summon out Shiny Black Sea, which is really neat because you can then destroy a monster with 2,000 or more attack. We then play 2 copies of Bio-Insect Armor. Bio-Insect Armor is a really awesome new card and a great throwback to basic Insect Weevil Underwood's Ace monster, which is just really neat because if this card is in your hand or graveyard and you do not control a Bio-Insect, then you can target one insect monster that you control and equip this card to it, but banish it if it leaves the field. Also banish this equip card when it leaves the field. And you can only equip Bio-Insect Armor once per turn. And the equipped monster gains 1500 attack and 2000 defense during the battle phase and main phase 2, which again makes it super easy to be able to equip this to any monster, go into battle phase, and then go into main 2, and then summon out Ultimate Great Insect off of literally any normal summon in this card, which is why I love this card as a 2-of in the deck. I don't play 3 because I don't want to clog with it, but it's still really good as a 2-of in the deck, and it can make your monsters absolutely massive, even making cards like your Ultimate Great Insect a 4,500 attack point monster during the battle phase. We then play a single copy of Zek Stagger. Zek Stagger is really neat because it's a great extender in this deck, just a special summon to your side of the field, and it's just a really awesome card in this particular deck. We then play a single copy of Beargrim. Beargrim is insanely powerful and is one of the best insect cards we've ever gotten in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's basically like a BLS for this deck, and really a great card. It's a power creep to Doom Dozer, but it has the ability, it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must be special from your hand or graveyard by banishing 3 insect or plant monsters from your hand or grave. And you can only special summon this card once per turn, and your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to your spell and trap cards effects activation. And once per turn, during your main phase, you can destroy all face-up monsters on the field, except insect and plant monsters. Also, this card cannot attack directly that turn, but it's still a 3,400 attack point monster that's super easy to put on the field multiple times. We then play a single copy of Metamorphosized Insect Queen. With it being a modern-day Weevil Underwood deck, why wouldn't we play Metamorphosized Insect Queen? This card is great to help you OTK, and it's just a really awesome card to play in this deck. And then finally, we're playing the original Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. Yes, we have the nostalgic factor in this deck. We are playing the one Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. You don't have to play this card. I just love playing it because it's so easy to summon in this deck for a 3,500 attack point vanilla monster, essentially, that just can help you go in for game. It's very easy to summon off of Parasite Paranoid's effect or the effect of Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, which is just really cool to be able to just immediately summon it out to your side of the field. And it's just a super cool card in this deck that's just really nostalgic. Plus, I had the original game promo one, so why not play it? And definitely give us a like for that nostalgic factor. So, let's go ahead and see what we're playing for the spells, because that's it for the monsters. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is extremely important in the deck because you want to get to your copy of Giant Ballpark as quickly as possible so that we can start going in for some really good plays. We then play 2 copies of Giant Ballpark or Ball Game. Giant Ball Game is really cool as a 2-of in this particular deck. I don't feel like you need more than 2 of it because I felt like it clogged when I played it at 3 in this particular deck, but it's really good as a 2-of because during your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you can special summon out 1 level 6 or lower insect monster from your graveyard. You can also reveal 1 insect monster in your hand, and then target 1 face-up monster that your opponent controls, and 1 insect monster you control with less attack than the revealed monster, and then switch control of those monsters, and if you do, the monster that you took control of becomes an insect monster, which is a really interesting effect for this card to actually have, but I feel like 2 is great in this deck. We then play our main card of the deck, and that's going to be 3 copies of Giant Ballpark. This is one of the coolest field spells in the game, and I absolutely love this card because during the damage calculation, if a monster would take battle damage, or if a player would take battle damage, you can make neither player take any battle damage from that battle, and if you do, send a level 4 lower insect monster from your deck to the graveyard, which can be cards like your Goki Pole that you can actually send from your deck to the graveyard to be able to get its effect to go off. Then, if you send a normal monster this way, your copy of your shiny Black Sea, then you can special summon any number of monsters with the same name as that monster from your hand deck or graveyard, which will get you 3 copies of shiny Black Sea on your side of the field. And if a monster that you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon out 1 insect normal monster from your graveyard, which is going to help you swarm out your copy of your shiny Black Sea. We then play 3 copies of Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. This card is super cool in the deck just to help you get out some really cool monsters, because you can tribute an insect monster from either player's field equipped with an equip card, and if you do, special summon out 1 insect monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is really cool because you can equip Parasite Paranoid to an opponent's monster, and then basically tribute that monster with Cocoon of Evolution to summon out cards like Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth, which is just really cool. I love this card in the deck, and it's a definite 3 of. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 insect monster in your graveyard and shuffle it into the deck, then draw a card, which is just going to help you recycle your cards a little bit in this particular build. And I absolutely love this card in the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Metaverse. I'm just playing 2 copies of Metaverse because we do need to get to our field spell extremely quickly, and this is a great way to just instantly get to the field spell in this deck. So I'm playing 2 copies of this because it's essentially like playing 6 copies of the field spell. You should play 2 copies of Metaverse, 3 copies of the field spell, and a copy of Terraforming, making it extremely easy to get to the field spell in your opening hand. And it doesn't really do anything during the first turn anyways, so you can just set Metaverse on your field and then flip it during the opponent's turn, and then put your field spell on field, which is just really good. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Ultimate Great Insect, and yes, you can summon out all 3 in a game, which is absolutely crazy. This card is a card you're never going to fusion summon into. You're only going to summon it almost like Thunder Dragon Colossus, which is really neat that insects actually basically have Thunder Dragon Colossus now, but almost like crazier. But it has the ability that you can only special summon Ultimate Great Insect once per turn, and it must first be either fusion summoned, which we're never going to do, or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing 1 insect monster with 2,000 or more defense equipped with an equip card, which is super easy to do in this deck because you have cards like your Bio Insect Armor and Parasite Paranoid that you can actually equip to your monsters or even your opponent's monsters, which is really neat. And this card also has the ability that it cannot be destroyed by battle. And once per turn during the battle phase, if a face-up card is in the field spell zone, quick effect, you can destroy all monsters that your opponent controls, being a quick effect Regeki if you have the field spell on the field, or even if your opponent has a field spell on the field, which is really crazy. This card is super good and a insanely powerful boss monster for this deck. We then play a single copy of the Menacing Mantis. This card is made easily in the deck with your copy of Dragon Bite plus any level 4 insect monster. And it's one of the best cards that we got out of Photon Hypernova. And if this card is synchro summon, you can send insect or plant monsters from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of non-tuner monsters used for this card synchro summon. And if this synchro summon card, or if you control this synchro summoned card, then you can target 1 insect or plant monster you control and treat it as a tuner until the end of the turn, which never really comes up in the deck. You're basically just summoning this card out in this deck to be able to use as a Foolish Burial. We then play a single copy of Underworld Goddess because it's very easy to swarm the field in this deck with all of the insects that we're playing to be able to just deal with your opponent's field. 1 copy of Access Code because Access Code is just really good and comes out absolutely massive in this deck. 1 copy of the Giant Bee Trooper Invincible Atlas. This card just gets massive in the deck. It's just a really good game ender for this build. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. This card is just really good overall. 1 copy of the Papillon. Papillon is a good one of. I don't feel like you need any more than a single copy of this card. It's really a great card because if this card is link summoned, you can place 1 counter on this card for each insect monster uses link material. And quick effect, you can remove a counter from this card to be able to special summon 1 level 4 lower insect monster from your graveyard and defense, which is great to help you link climb in this deck, but I feel like 1 is totally fine. We then play 2 copies of the Inzektor Link. This card actually helps us out a lot in the deck because it has the ability, if this card is link summoned, you can discard a card and then target 1 other insect monster that you control and equip 1 insect monster from your deck to the monster as an equip spell that gives it the effect that it gives it 500 attack and defense, which is how we make Ultimate Great Insect so easy in this deck. It's really insane how easy the Inzektor Link monster makes the Ultimate Great Insect, and it's a great card in this deck because you can also target 3 insect monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then draw a card card, which will help you recycle some of your resources. We then play 2 copies of Armor Horn. Armor Horn's just really good in this particular deck to help us link climb, and it's a great great 2 of in this deck, because during your main phase, you can immediately effect results, normal summon 1 insect monster, which is just a really good effect. And if this card's in the graveyard, you can banish 3 other insect monsters from your grave and special on this card, but banish when it leaves the field, which will get you a link to on the field, which is really nice. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena is so we can make Unicorn during the opponent's turn and spin a card, which is really nice, or even make Underworld Goddess during the opponent's turn, which is crazy. And then finally, a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is great in this deck because you can normal summon Resonant Insect and then link it away because it has 1,000 attack, for Alamirage giving you a search, which is insanely good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. I really feel like this is the build that Weevil Underwood would use in a modern day setting, which is really cool. I absolutely love this new boss monster. It's so cool, and it's a really nice addition to any insect deck. You can even play it in ninjas, which is really cool. If you guys have not checked out the ninja deck profile, you should definitely check that one out. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.